ENZC, what's going on? Long time. Well, maybe not that long. I was on vacation for a couple of days. Really glad to be back. Glad to be in front of the charts. If you haven't been noticing on Twitter, I've been tagging all-star charts a lot lately. I really recommend you guys follow him on Twitter. He doesn't look at pennies much, but he's really, really solid. Great work. He's got a good Twitter page as well as his YouTube channel. Really good. I want to build off something in this video on ENZC regarding something I picked up from him, and that was regarding the IWM, which is a small cap ETF. Small cap meaning between 300 million and 2 billion, right? And a micro cap ETF, IWC, which is basically anything below 300 million, and then tie that into ENZC, right? And so first thing I want to do, I'm going to just clean up my chart just a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this, the 200-day moving average. I don't want that to get in our way here for when we start seeing the similarities. But so there, that spreads out the chart really nicely. So I just want you to look. You're wondering, why did Jay draw these lines? Well, these are dates, right? You've got June 8th, June 28th, and July 21st. And I want you to see here in the small caps, IWM, right? We hit a high, go down, and we come up and hit a high. And then you start trading in this kind of rectangular pattern, right? So remember those dates. They're marked on this one too. Look at this. Micro cap hits a high, hits a smaller high, trades in a rectangular pattern. ENZC hits a high, trades in a rectangular pattern. There's a lot of moments where I can remember where the S&P maybe has a bad day, but ENZC does great. We're like, wow, we're still in the market. I don't think so. I think we're looking at the wrong market. I think we need to be keeping our eyes on IWM for the small caps and IWC for the micro caps. And we are a micro cap. We are in A for market capitalization. So if you do a micro cap screener, we actually might not come up. And we, meaning of course, ENZC. So what I want to talk about for one is just simply this price. So we have been a bouncy ball between these ranges in all three of these, right? I do notice that the IWM had the most consistent highs, right? Went back to that resistance, and that's great. But they also were the most recent to touch the, support. The microcaps did not go all the way back up. And then the weakest on that second bounce, obviously, was ENZC. Just didn't do it. But instead, we just get tighter and tighter into what I am saying is a Bollinger Squeeze. This is my Bollinger width. You can see I've dropped a green line. Basically, anything below that line, in my opinion, needs to be watched pretty carefully. I think we're in a pretty serious squeeze. I'll be excited to see how we move out of that. But sticking to this, I want to tell you what we really want to see is we want to see either IWM or IWC or ENZC break out of this resistance. And if we do on one, it's my opinion we'll see it on all three, because it's my opinion that all three are very much related. And so we really want to see us break this resistance. And the question is then, how likely is that? And we've got a nice move here in the 3 months that's coming up. This is on the small cap. Nice move on the 3 months coming up on the slow stochastic for the micros. ENZC, not so much. Had a down note, right? The others came up. We came down. That was disappointing. But we're also in this Bollinger Squeeze that the others aren't experiencing. So we might actually pop out. The other thing is, because I really want to see IWM and IWC break this resistance, my interest really is on them and how they're doing. And we see here they're reaching higher highs. Very good for IWM. IWC, same pattern with the RSI. Now, I will tell you, ENZC is not experiencing that pattern on their RSI. They're actually going down. But I believe that once IWC and IWM makes a strong movement, I believe ENZC will jump right on board. Plus, we have a lot of catalysts coming that are going to be pretty awesome. Let's also jump in because this is a story that I just won't stop talking about. Is I want us to go to the weekly time frequency on the 1 year, and here we are. This is the slow stochastic and oversold curving up. Now, the reason I wanted to look at time frequency weekly is because these are going to be the longer bullish and bearish movements, as we saw. Speaking of that, it's also interesting to note that when you go to a 1 year on them, they hit the resistance and stopped. But clearly, ENZC, we hit the resistance and then came down, and we consolidated in a different place. So there's some key differences here, but I want to point that out. But anyway, slow stochastic about to curve up. On these guys, slow stochastic on the 1 year weekly looks the same, so I'll only show you one of them. But it is actually curving down out of overbought. That's actually quite good that it hasn't gotten down to 50 yet. It could actually still be just kind of digesting some gains, and maybe it's about to run really nicely. I'm thinking this is good. I want us to keep an eye on IWM and IWC, and then let's look for one of them to break out of this resistance, or ENZC, of course, and then let's know that the others should file suit, and good runs could happen. I mean, this was the last time that it did a breakout. It went from 158 to 209. And obviously pretty good stuff over here. If we look at that on the weekly, and I'm looking at the 1 year, exactly identical runs. Look at where that line is right there under 6 months. ENZC, 6 months, right here. So picking that up right there at 0.0002. I mean, geez, unbelievable that would have been, right? That's why understanding which ETFs to follow can really make a powerful movement. That's why all these things are so key. I'm hoping you'll follow IWM, IWC, along with ENZC, and let's see if something plays out across the three of them. Hey, cheers, y'all.